Hola amigos, ¿cómo les va? Bueno, después de la audiencia de hoy, como que todo el mundo con un gusto a poco de lo que pasó. Para mí fue bastante importante porque pudimos ver un montón de cosas, por ejemplo, que el programa de Inmaculada Constelación es real, que Luis Elizondo efectivamente sí fue director de la TIP, tuvo que jurar, y eso, bueno, si miente va preso, así que efectivamente supimos que era verdad eso. Así que muchas cosas que se están por venir, y yo creo que fue un paso importante. Es un momento extraño, recién ganó Trump, están todos como en otra sintonía, pero yo creo que en los próximos meses y en los próximos días se va a ver más información sobre el tema. Así que bueno, vamos a ver qué dijo hoy Ross Coulthart.
And welcome to a special edition of Reality Check, coming to you live from Cairo, Egypt. I didn't attend today's hearing in the Congress for the House Oversight and Accountability Committee because I had a prior engagement to be a host of a tour of Egypt's ancient ruins. And it's a very fascinating trip, I have to say. I'm really enjoying the experience. And there is a definitive connection to the UAP mystery. Because just like the UAP mystery, the issue of the ancient technologies, the mystery of the ancient technologies of the ancient ruins of Egypt are in plain sight. And they pose a conundrum, an inexplicable conundrum. Who the hell built them? And just like the UFO issue, there's a hell of a lot of evidence that everybody's been ignoring and sticking their head in the sands on. Coming to today's hearing, well, I wouldn't say it was groundbreaking. I wouldn't say it was momentous. But boy, there was something special about, I think, a shift in the room. I think there was a sense of change in the determination and the attitude of the Congress. It's quite clear that a number of congressmen, congresswomen are determined to get to the bottom of this UAP issue. And let's put today's hearing in context. Before we get into the nitty-gritty detail of the hearing, let's put in context that President-elect Trump has announced John Ratcliffe, the former director of national intelligence, as his new head of the CIA. And Ratcliffe has been extremely outspoken on the subject of UAPs. He's indicated very strongly that he thinks that there needs to be greater transparency and accountability. And just in the last few minutes, I've heard that Tulsi Gabbard from Colorado, the representative from Colorado, has been chosen by President Trump to be the director of national intelligence. That's quite a momentous turn of events. I can imagine there are people in the Defense Department and the CIA Office of Global Access in particular, who are quaking in their boots, turning on the shredders, getting ready for the imminent possibility of demands by the Congress for information. I mean, I think the simple fact is that we're in a position where the maintaining of the status quo by those who keep on wishing to keep this secret is no longer sustainable. I get the impression that not only are congressional representatives getting frustrated and impatient, they are actually at the point now where they're determined to get access to information. What did I think of the speakers today? Look, I didn't hear anything new. I do think that, frankly, the issue will always be with the House Oversight and Accountability Committee public hearings, that nothing can be discussed that hasn't been pre-approved in a DOPSA, in a Defence Office pre-publication security review. And in this case, a lot of people are saying online they're very frustrated that there's been no more revelations from Lou Elizondo in particular. But the guy is constrained by his DOPSA. He's not allowed to reveal anything that he's not authorised to reveal. Otherwise, that puts him in breach of his security oath. Just letting my producer Alex know that if we are showing private chat comments, I'm not getting any at the moment. Just having a look. In 5 seconds. Now I'm getting a look. Now I'm getting some. So let me quickly have a look at what you guys are asking. When is this thing, the space supposed to go to air? The Earth is bigger than we know. Elizondo is a shill like Rush. Oh, go away, you boring twat. I can't be bothered with people who are insulting to people who are patriots. I just don't think people realise the depth and the level of the commitment that these people
are you read into secret UAP?
So that's an interview, that's an exchange with Lou Elizondo that my colleague Alex has just put on the screen. Let's have a listen to this. This is one of the excerpts from Lou's testimony today.
Okay. Are you read into secret UAP crash retrieval programs?
We would have to have a conversation in a closed session, ma'am. I signed documentation 3 years ago that restricts my ability to discuss specifically crash retrievals. I submitted for my book through the DOPSA process, which took a year for it to be reviewed. And what is in the book is what I was told I'm allowed to talk about.
Now that, I think, even though Lou didn't answer it, is probably the most momentous question and answer of the evening. Think about it. Why can't Lou Elizondo answer the question, was he read into a program involving crash retrievals? If he can't answer it, if he could answer it, he'd probably say no. If he can't answer it, it probably means he'd have to say yes. And my bet is that Lou Elizondo was read into a legacy retrieval program. I think you should just ponder the significance of that for a moment. Why would Lou Elizondo be read into a retrieval program? There was another moment, I think it was Jared Moskowitz, asked Elizondo what his most previous role was in the Defense Department. And it was a long-winded title, and I guess a lot of people might have missed it. But essentially, he was involved in the management of an SAP. And did you notice that it was at White House level? Just have a think about that. This is a person who a lot of people keep on dismissing in a really, I think, quite disgraceful way. Lou is a patriot. He's somebody who's sticking his neck out for you to get the truth and to get oversight by the Congress. And frankly, I don't think he deserves to be treated with disrespect. Let me get on to some of these more of these questions. Somebody says here, I'm not really sure what Gold brought to the table today. Seemed like an opportunistic move to get more funding from NASA. That's Surfing Stephen. Look, yeah, I found of all of the speakers, I find Michael Gold the most underwhelming in terms of the information that he actually had to offer. But what I thought was the most interesting thing that he said is that there is an extensive archive that could be drawn upon inside NASA that would allow more insights to be obtained about UAPs. And that's, to me, an extraordinarily important point to make, because NASA is an extraordinarily well-resourced organisation that has deep space assets. It's got long-range cameras. It's got assets that are being deployed both looking out towards space and back in towards the Earth. And if the allegations contained in the Immaculate Constellation document are all true, and I strongly suspect they are, then frankly the implications are that we're picking up things on our space sensor systems that are extraordinarily important. And all that is needed is a change of attitude inside NASA to start taking this issue seriously. And I think that's the significance of today's hearing, that you're now seeing, I think, a kind of a shift in the room. People are now engaging in a way.
Much of which I believe will likely have information that will.
So this is Michael Gold. He's the former member of the NASA team that investigated the UAP issue, and frankly, I think they did a bit of a wet lettuce of a report. But just here, have a quick listen to what Michael Gold said.
NASA has full archives of data, much of which I believe will likely have information that will help inform UAP. We need only look. And again, in an era with AI and ML, we can relatively quickly and easily go through it. So I think it's something that we should encourage NASA to do.
Now, I think NASA actually is a key to a lot of this. I personally believe from my own sources that NASA, or at least individuals in NASA, are colluding to stop the public from knowing about things that are seen by their space sensor systems. I've actually seen it myself. I had a visit to a space center in the course of this year. In the course of our visit, I was with someone who knew NASA very, very well, and we were being given a VIP tour of a NASA facility. And in the course of that tour, we were looking at imagery from the space station, looking out towards outer space. And in the course of our conversation with a very senior official from NASA, a number of egg-shaped objects drifted into view. And I asked him, I thought, oh, that must be the Starlink. It must be Starlink satellites that have recently been deployed. And I said, oh, they're Starlink satellites. And the person turned and looked very, very surprised and said, no, they're not. And he looked across to the control room and they flicked a switch and it immediately went to transmission to the space station has been interrupted. I can't say definitively what those objects were, but I think I maybe have seen NASA turning off the switch. Let me have a look here.
Hey, Ross, this is your producer, Alexandra. I've got a couple of questions for you if you're ready for me.
Sure, fire away.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are asking right now, what is the next step?
Okay, well, that's a good starting point. Look, today's hearing, I think, was window dressing. It was an opportunity, I think, for the representatives in the lower house to basically have their moment in the sun. And good on Nancy Mace. I think she's been fantastic. She showed fire in demonstrating her willingness to engage on this issue. That, to me, is the most important thing about this, that we've now got representatives that have got a bit between the teeth, they've got red meat, and they're ready to fire on it. And that's significant. What's going to happen now? I think we should be watching what's coming up next in the Senate, because Senator Gillibrand has indicated very strongly that she thinks she wants a hearing after the election, post-election. I heard the rumor that it might be as early as late November. And I think a hearing of her subcommittee of the Senate Intelligence Committee could very well be, I think, a momentous change. That's what I think comes next. I'm working on something at the moment that will be coming to air in sometime, hopefully towards the end of this year, that I hope will be making a significant contribution. I'd like to see also further delving into the allegations raised in the Immaculate Constellation report. Having seen the report now, it's been tabled and a copy of it has been posted by Nancy Mace. And what's really interesting about that report to me is that it was vetted and approved for release, not by the Defence Department, but by the Department of State. And that told me something. It indicated to me for the first time something I've suspected for a while, that the source is somebody I think I'm aware of who operates in a particular government department that may or may not be the Department of State. So I think if that's the case, it's extraordinarily significant and important. And I would like to see those allegations in the Immaculate Constellation report fully investigated. Whoever's put that report together has done a lot of information dumping. There are even file numbers that will allow any proactive searcher to go and find the files that they are referring to. That is extremely important. And I strongly suspect that that person, having been deposed in a hearing, having provided that evidence to the Congress, I strongly suspect that that person has given much more detail in private hearing. Just so you know, I'm aware of individuals who have given evidence, particularly to the Senate Intelligence Committee. There's been a hell of a lot happening behind the scenes in the last few months. And I'm sorry, I know people get frustrated about this, but the simple fact is that a lot of this evidence has to be given in a secure SCIF, because these people are patriots, they're national security constrained employees, often at the Defence Department, former or serving, and they don't want to breach their security oath. But the interesting thing is, legally, these committees, particularly the Senate Intelligence Committee, are allowed to hear their evidence in a secure room, a SCIF, a secure facility that allows the evidence to be heard with all the legal and secrecy protections. And I know for a fact that people have testified before the Congress, and particularly the Senate Intelligence Committee. Let's have a look at any more questions. I'm just scrolling forward on an enormous list of questions that I've got here in front of me. Are there any that you think we should be focusing on, Alex?
Yes, Ross, our team here at NewsNation was talking about Elizondo's comments about seeing biologics from before he was born. I see some other people are asking about that too, wondering if that could potentially be some type of connection to Roswell.
Well, that's speculative. I don't know for sure. But Lou is, and he's acknowledged this to me in the interview that he did for NewsNation. He is an experiencer. And I know that he's had things that he doesn't want to talk about publicly happen to him. And so have, interestingly enough, a lot of the people who've been involved in investigating the UAP issue. The simple fact is that something is taking an interest in the people who are investigating it. And that includes not just government officials, but frankly, I think anyone who engages with the phenomenon. There is this thing called the hitchhiker phenomenon. Talking of biologics, by the way, did anyone catch the craziest question of the evening? I'm not saying that in a pejorative way. The claims made by Congresswoman Lauren Boebert from Colorado. And she asked, there are rumors that have come up to the Hill of a secretive project within the DoD involving the manipulation of human genetics with what is described as non-human genetic material, potentially for the enhancement of human capabilities and hybrids. Are any of you familiar with that, yes or no? No, nobody gave her any kind of wow answer, but that is one hell of an allegation, that this is an allegation that has come to the attention of the Hill, of the Congress. Watch that space. Now, anything more, Alex, that I should know about? I'm finding it very hard to monitor what the comments are.
Yes, we're getting a lot of comments here. Somebody is asking the importance of the documents submitted.
Oh, okay. So this document, the Immaculate Constellation document, is not an official government document. That's been a misnomer. A lot of people have thought that this was some kind of top secret compartmentalized document. It is a summary by someone I think I know now that I know that they had the clearance done by the Department of State. And I think that what they have done is a summary of documents that they became privy to in the course of their work. There are a lot of people who have contacted me and other journalists, including my friend and colleague Michael Schellenberger, who are aware of tangential issues relating to the program because of the degree of access they've had in the course of their job. And some of them are too frightened to talk about what they've heard because, look, to be honest with you, they're patriots. They don't want to jeopardize inadvertently by speaking out about something, some kind of program that they're frightened of speaking about because it might actually compromise sources or human intelligence or methods and means by which we obtain this intelligence. And that's something that we have to be mindful of. I do think we need to be respectful of people for why they decide not to speak about something. So just to emphasize, the Immaculate Constellation document is not an official government document, but the information within it, I recognize a lot of the names and terms and censor systems that are described by that person. They are extremely well informed, and if they are the person that I now think I know who they are, then they deserve to be protected and they must be listened to. I'm just looking at a question here that somebody's asked me, and I think it's an important question. Ross, do you think there is some sort of fight between the government and private technology contractors about that UAP technology? Bloody hell I do. Absolutely there is. What's going on at the moment, and I know this is going on, is you've got the CIA Office of Global Access is running a counter-disinformation operation to try and stop you, the public, from knowing about this issue. We are now very, very close to this spilling. There are a lot of people coming forward to me and others saying what they know. And they're very, very willing to testify, certainly in camera, to the Congress, particularly to the Senate Intelligence Committee. Speaking in public might not be at this stage a really good idea because, frankly, if they do try and speak in public, they get constrained by the national security oath that limits what they can reveal within the compartmented information that they're allowed to discuss that's been approved by, say, a DOPSA application. What's really significant about the Immaculate Constellation document is that it was not approved by the Department of Defense. And I just wonder if they've been wrong-footed. As I understand it, when you do a DOPSA request, when you're asking for permission to speak and make an application to the Defense Office of Pre-Publication Security Review, the equivalent in the State Department, I don't know what its systems are, but I presume it does what the Defense Department does, which is write to the affected agencies and ask them whether they have any objections to the release of this information. And it's really interesting that in the Immaculate Constellation document, certain censor systems, capabilities have been revealed. I'm told they are particularly accurate. I can't speak to all of the document because, frankly, I'm just not across the detail of all of it. A lot of people, I notice, it's becoming very fashionable to take a kick at Lou Elizondo on the way through. I have absolutely no time for those people. They have no understanding of the sacrifices that a patriot like Lou Elizondo is making. It's becoming a bit of a bore, frankly, that people feel that they can give a kicking to Lou. And I think all they're doing, frankly, is playing to the trolls who have been played by disinformation operatives within the Defense Department, notably Susan Goff, who are basically trying to shut down public commentary on this issue by running a diversion operation on Lou Elizondo. Don't buy it, guys. Really, don't buy it. You are being fooled. You are deliberately being misled so that you get off the trail. It's absolutely imperative that you keep the heat up on these buggers, because if you don't, they're going to cover it up again. There is still, I think, a serious possibility that even with the pressure that's coming from Congress, under Trump, even with a DNI like John Ratcliffe, and not DNI, a CIA director like John Ratcliffe, and a DNI like Tulsi Gabbard, there's still a possibility that Trump might be intimidated by forces within the defense and intelligence community who impress upon him, as they have done with other presidents, why this information should not be released. We've got to keep the heat up. Whatever the information is, as I think it was Lou Elizondo said. No, it was Michael Schellenberger. Michael Schellenberger gave a great quote that I think I might get Alex to run, where he basically talked about the fact that the public has a right to know this. Let's have a listen to Michael Schellenberger. You got that one for us, Alex?
UAP task force. This is completely absurd. It's nuts. This level of censorship, of redaction on a document. It shows the redaction of how many reports they've collected, for how many years. 2 of the 3 potential explanations are blacked out. The Pentagon, the intelligence community is treating us like children. It's time for us to know the truth about this. I think that we can handle it.
We can handle the truth. One of the questions that I noticed somebody has asked in the questions is, Ross, can you reveal the large UAP building to Schellenberger so that he can go anonymous? It's a funny question. I can't reveal it to Michael Schellenberger, but I have revealed it to people who are in a position to have the clearances to be allowed to know, and that has been done. That's all I'm going to say. There are people who are in a position to investigate this, and I know that they're in possession of the information, and I know that they're investigating it.
Hey, Ross, this is Alexandra again. A few people on here asking about David Grush and why he wasn't at the hearing today.
Okay, look, frankly, again, with David Grush, if David had been called in a public hearing before the House Oversight and Accountability Committee, most of the time he would have had to have done what Lou had to do, which is say, I'm really sorry, I can't answer that question. David's trying to get approvals for further information to be revealed in his new DOPSA applications. A lot of people see that there's something sinister in DOPSA applications. They think that somehow because he's making applications to the Defense Department to get permission to talk about things, that's somehow some kind of game where the Defense Department is playing David. Not true. The simple fact is David's only allowed to reveal publicly in a public hearing forum like the House Oversight and Accountability Committee what he's allowed to reveal. He can reveal, I mean, technically, legally, David, in a secure skiff, can go into the Senate Intelligence Committee, as he has done, and reveal all. I don't mean to be disrespectful to the people watching this, but you guys are largely irrelevant to the processes of oversight and accountability in the Congress. The Congress has checks and balances on executive power, and because of the nature of the intelligence community and the secrets that have to be protected, we do have to protect human sources. We do have to protect sources and methods, and as a professional journalist, I am legally obliged, ethically obliged, to protect that as well. But David can, and has done, testify in camera to the Senate Intelligence Committee, and he has given hours and hours and hours of evidence where he has quite literally detailed where craft are being hidden, who are hiding those craft, the code names of the programs that are being used to conceal those craft. That detail has been provided to the Senate Intelligence Committee. So if you've got frustration, if you're really angry about why nothing's proceeding with this, you should be asking your congressional representatives in both the House Oversight Committee, the House Intelligence Committee, the Senate Intelligence Committee, the Senate Armed Services Committee, the House Armed Services Committee. It's those representatives in the Senate and the House who know the information that has been provided by David Grush and other witnesses in camera, where they're legally allowed to do that. And you should be asking the question of them, why aren't you doing something with the information that we know has been provided in camera? David Grush has said he's provided, I think, 14 hours or 11 hours of evidence. He's provided an enormous amount of information. He's not legally allowed to reveal all in a public way that would allow potential adversaries, Russia, China, from getting any kind of strategic advantage. And there are good reasons for doing that. Let me know if you've got any other questions, Alex. I'm going on down.
Yeah, Ross, this is Alex again. A few people have asked where to watch the UAP hearing from this morning. NewsNation did stream that on our YouTube page. So if you head over to NewsNation YouTube, you can find that under live replays. And that's also where you'll be able to find this live replay once we're chatting here today.
Sure. Don't forget also, a lot of people are asking, where we go from here, what came out of today, why was it significant? To me, what was significant was that Lou Elizondo was able to give evidence under oath. He's told the Congress under oath he's subject now to criminal penalties if he has lied, knowingly lied. He's told them that he is aware of the existence of a UAP craft retrieval program and reverse engineering program. Now, that is exactly what David Grush testified to. That's extraordinarily significant. You now have two people with extremely detailed alleged knowledge of this program testifying to the Congress under oath that they are aware of the existence of such a program. That's what Congress needs to start now properly investigating. I'm scrolling down. A lot of people here are making insinuations about Michael Gold being a plant. That's not the case at all. I thought Michael Gold's enthusiasm for the UAP subject was commendable. He's somebody, we should be grateful for anyone who's prepared to stick their head up above the parapet and prepared to say, yeah, I'm a public official, I'm a public servant, I've got security clearances, and I'm prepared to say, I think that this should be investigated. And this is where you can find this evidence. That's what Michael Gold was doing. Good on him for speaking about it. He wasn't hugely, overwhelming in what he revealed, but I still think that it was significant that he was prepared to testify. I do agree here, somebody, Luna Castle, saying Gold wasn't asked the questions regarding NASA's UAP report, but he should have been, namely, were any conclusions suppressed or was access to relevant data blocked for any reason. That is one very well-informed point. I thought NASA report was just a piece of limp lettuce. It was a joke. And I know for a fact that NASA's sitting on evidence that it knows relates to the UAP subject. It may be that not everybody at a very senior level in NASA knows about it, but there are certainly gatekeepers for the legacy program who are operating in stealth inside NASA, monitoring what's being seen and making sure that the UAP program gets to know about it. The interesting thing is, I've spoken to very senior people in NASA, both in a former and serving capacity, who tell me that they are completely unaware of any kind of UAP legacy program. They haven't been briefed into it. And you would think that they would have been. But the interesting thing is, my sources tell me that 2 rungs below that very senior person, that person's a gatekeeper controlling the flow of information on UAPs. That's how they do this. And I just think that's outrageous. Why, for example, couldn't a very senior person in NASA know about the existence of a non-human intelligence? Isn't that directly relevant to the expenditure of billions, if not trillions, of taxpayer dollars? Oh, boring. Elizondo's a counterintelligence operative. Yeah, Elizondo is a trained counterintelligence operative, but the person who wrote that is snidely insinuating that he's trying to dissemble and disinform. Grow up. We need first-hand witness testimony. Bring in the executives from Lockheed, Boeing, Honeywell, Northrop Grumman, General Dynamics. Absolutely. I completely agree with David, who's made that point. We do need to put these people under oath. And I've forgotten who it was. It might have been Nancy Mace, who suggested that it was time for people to be subpoenaed, potentially hostile witnesses, to be called before the Congress and put under oath and asked a hard question. Another person I'd add to that list is Admiral Thomas Wilson, retired, the man who received the alleged Wilson-Davis memo, who has so far denied the accuracy of its contents. I'd like to see him put under oath and see if he's prepared to lie and commit perjury and deceive the American public. I think that would be a very interesting Q&A. Are aliens going to kill anyone? No, I don't think that's true at all. I don't see any indication at all of any malevolence from what I hear from people. Somebody says here, I was a bit disheartened after this. Seemed to falter. I agree, it lost puff halfway through. But they're making a point that, and this is M1, hearing about Gabbard being appointed will hopefully put their feet to the fire. I totally agree. I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, whatever you think of Donald Trump, the fact that he's appointing these people who are so definitively pro-UAP disclosure to key positions like the CIA director and the director of national intelligence is going to put not just the wind of change, it's going to put the blowtorch of change through the complacent. I can't say what I want to say because I am so angry with these people. I might swear, and I know you Americans don't like cussing. I am so angry about the arrogant, hubristic jerks that are controlling access to this information. My understanding is that they're relying on the legality of their actions being based on a presidential executive order dating back to, I think, either 1952 or 1954 under Eisenhower. The same Eisenhower who warned about the threat of the growing power of the military-industrial complex. I don't think, and I'm not offering a firm legal opinion on this, I'm offering this without prejudice, but I don't think you can plausibly argue that a president can constrain other presidents from being told the truth about a non-human intelligence engaging with this planet. And that's what we're talking about here. Both Bill Clinton, former President Clinton, and Barack Obama have basically said that they were told that Roswell was not the crash of an alien spacecraft. I know that is a lie. Whoever told those two presidents that has lied. And I think those people one day should be hauled before these congressional committees and made to answer for their actions. And if they have knowingly committed a lie to the Commander-in-Chief of the United States, I think they should be prosecuted and criminally charged with treason. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Donald Trump was thinking along those lines. I hope he is. Maybe that might scare these people into being a little more forthcoming. I'm scrolling down. Anything I need to know, Alex, at your end? I'm trying to catch up and read while I'm talking.
No, Ross, it looks like you've answered most of the questions. Obviously, we're getting thousands at this point, but I think anything that's popped up, you've pretty much addressed.
Here's one.
You'd like to wrap up?
J of B. Ross, how important was it that Lou was able to get the fact that UAP have affected our nuclear weapons onto the record? It was extremely important, but obviously it's already a matter of public record. Are some of the UAPs people are seeing possibly living biological systems? Well, that's a very interesting question. But if you look at the jellyfish UFO, what the hell is that? And if you read, by the way, read the Immaculate Constellation document, and you will see a very detailed report about the jellyfish UFO. Interesting. A lot of people were pouring, how do I say this politely? They were pouring shade on the jellyfish UFO video. But there is a jellyfish UFO video described on the border between the US and Mexico, which was, I think, picked up by a surveillance aircraft. And it is quite clearly described in the Immaculate Constellation document. I think that deserves further investigation. Here's Eduardo saying, I hope Trump fires those people making the whistleblowers look bad and lie to the public. I'm with you, Eduardo. The people who are helping us reveal this secret are patriots. One day there is going to be a reckoning. And I'm beginning to think it's going to come a lot sooner than we all expected because of what's happening with President-elect Trump making these key appointments. I'm getting more and more optimistic as the week goes on. There really are some momentous appointments. I'm just going to have a look at a couple more questions. And if I can't see anything here, I might call it a night. Yeah, no. Oh, Ross, I'm curious. This is Jimmy's asking, have you legitimized the source that there's a UAP building with Google Earth imagery or a personal visit? I haven't done a personal visit, but yes, I have seen satellite imagery, and moreover, I have independently corroborated the accuracy of what I'm alleging with multiple sources. I have no doubt about it, guys. Yep, I think we can call it. I thank you all for taking part in this live Q&A. My summary is, I don't think this was a groundbreaking evening or morning, but I do think that it was an event that shows that the Congress has got steely resolve. They've got the bit between their teeth, and they're determined to keep on asking the questions. What's up next? The Senate is possibly, or actually we're told it's definitely having a hearing. And after that, well, one of the things that was flagged by Michael Gold, I noticed, was that he's participated in a film that a producer by the name of Dan Farrar is making, and he named himself, Michael Gold, Lou Elizondo, and 30 other senior officials as being involved in that film. Now that Michael's talked about it, I'm going to talk about it. I'm aware of that film. I'm very excited about it. I'm told there are some extremely senior figures, including former very senior government officials, making quite extraordinarily declaratory statements about an NHI presence on this panel. Thank you very much for joining me on Reality Check. I look forward to talking to you soon.